In 2026, something happened in the watch world that no one ever thought was possible. Audemars Piguet, one of the most exclusive private luxury watchmakers on the planet, a brand that sells $50,000 steel watches with wait lists longer than a decade, joins hand with Swatch, the king of colorful plastic watches, the creator of the $100 Quartz watch revolution, and the undisputed master of mass culture. Two brands separated by price, philosophy, audience, and everything in between came together to release one of the most surprising products in the modern watchmaking, the Swatch Audemars Piguet Royal Pop Collection, a $400 pocket watch inspired by one of the most famous luxury watches ever made. A collaboration no one predicted, a move that shocked the luxury world, and a strategy that goes much deeper than fun colors and limited drops. Because this collaboration wasn't born in 2026. It wasn't born from hype. It wasn't born from marketing. It was born from a crisis that started in the 1970s, a mistake made in 1971, a legal battle fought across the world from 2020 to 2025, and a fear inside Audemars Piguet that its most iconic creation, the Royal Oak, was slipping out of its hand. This is a story of how the Royal Oak almost became a design that AP could not legally protect. Hi, I'm Chirag Mandirutta, and in this video, we're going to break down the full story behind the Audemars Piguet and Swatch collaboration, how it started, why it happened, and what it means for the future of watchmaking. To understand this moment, we need to go back 50 years to the crisis that nearly destroyed Swiss watches forever. The 1970s were a nightmare for Swiss watchmakers. For centuries, Switzerland dominated world watchmaking. Mechanical watches, hand finished movements, complex engineering, which gave prestige and luxury. Then Japan happened. In 1969, Seiko launched the Aston, the world's first quartz wristwatch. It was cheap but accurate. It didn't need servicing. It didn't need heritage. It didn't break easily. And it costed a fraction of a Swiss watch. Consumers switched instantly. Swiss brands? They didn't. The result? Swiss exports collapsed. Two-thirds of the manufacturers shut down. 60,000 watchmakers lost their jobs. Brands with 100 years histories went bankrupt. Rolex, Patek Philippe, and Audemars Piguet, they all struggled. Mechanical watches suddenly felt old-fashioned. This period became known as the Quartz Crisis. It was the biggest disaster Swiss watchmaking had ever seen, and it forced every brand, especially Audemars Piguet, to rethink everything they knew. In the early 1980s, Switzerland was desperate. Factories were closing, brands were dying, the industry needed a miracle. The miracle was Swatch. In 1983, Nicholas G. Hayek launched Swatch, a watch that broke every rule. Plastic case, bold colors, quartz movement, fun design, affordable pricing. Only 51 components, fully automated manufacturing. Swatch wasn't just a watch. It was a fashion accessory, a cultural object, a global icon. Millions were sold, then tens of millions, then hundreds of millions. The profits exploded, and those profits didn't stay inside Swatch. They saved the entire Swiss watchmaking ecosystem. Swatch Group acquired failing luxury brands Omega, Longines, Tissot, Blancpain, Breguet, and many more. They revived them, rebuilt their factories, rebuilt their supply chain, rebuilt their global image. But the biggest contribution was this. Swatch's movement manufacturing division, called the ETA, became the heart of Swiss watchmaking. For decades, ETA supplied components or full movements to Breitling, IWC, Tudor, Panerai, Cartier, Tag Heuer, and many more independent watchmakers. Even high-end masons, including Audemars Piguet, used ETA components during different phases. Swatch didn't just save itself, it saved the entire industry. It kept factories open, it kept watchmakers employed, it kept Swiss watchmaking alive, and indirectly, it kept Audemars Piguet alive. In 1971, when the Swiss watch industry was collapsing, Audemars Piguet needed something bold, something radical, something that could make mechanical watches relevant again. They called Gerard Genta. He delivered a sketch overnight, an octagonal watch with exposed screws, and an integrated steel bracelet, inspired by a diver's helmet. It looked modern, industrial, and rebellious. In 1972, the Royal Oak launched and people hated it. A steel watch that costed more than a gold one? A luxury watch with screws on the front. A design so sharp you could cut papers with it. People thought AP was insane. But slowly, very slowly, the Royal Oak built a cult following. Collectors loved it, celebrities wore it, AP doubled down. The design caught fire. By the 1990s, the Royal Oak wasn't just a watch, it was a symbol, a culture, a phenomenon. And by the 2000s, the Royal Oak contributed nearly 80% of AP's total revenue. But behind this success was a problem no one saw at that time. When AP filed its patent in 1971, they protected only the engineering of the watch, not the design. The octagon, exposed screws, integrated bracelet, and the dial tapestry pattern was not protected. And that patent expired roughly 20 years later. By the 1990s, the design was legally unprotected. By the 2000s, copies exploded. By the 2010s, every microbrand had a Royal Oak lookalike. By 2020, AP realized they needed to protect the design legally. But by then, it was nearly 50 years too late. In 2020, Audemars Piguet finally acted. They filed trademark and design protection application in multiple major regions. Why? Because without legal protection, any company could legally copy the Royal Oak's shape. AP needed the trademark protection at a global scale, so they started filing. Japan was one of the first major markets AP targeted. In 2020, AP filed a trademark application attempting to claim the ownership of the octagonal bezel, the 8 screws, the case geometry, the dial pattern, and the integrated bracelet aesthetics. AP believed that after 50 years, the shape had become uniquely associated with Audemars Piguet. But Japan rejected the application in 2023. The Japanese Patent Office ruled the Royal Oak design was not distinctive enough. Too many brands had used similar shapes. Functional elements like screws cannot be trademarked. Consumers cannot identify a watch solely by its shape. AP reappealed, but in 2024, Japan rejected it again. The conclusion: AP cannot claim monopoly over the Royal Oak shape in Japan. Then came United States. In January 2025, the Trademarks Trial and Appeal Board (TTAB) issued its verdict. AP had attempted to trademark the same 5 aspects of Royal Oak. TTAB rejected the application. Their reasons were even more brutal. Number 1, the design is not inherently distinctive. AP could not prove that consumers sees their shape and automatically think of Audemars Piguet. Number 2, the design is too functional. Screws and case designs are considered engineering choices. Number 3, too many similar watches exist. AP failed to enforce the design protection for 50 years. And number 4, AP acted too late. Trademark law favors early protection. The US decision was a major blow. And what were the consequences of losing all these legal battles? AP had to accept the harsh truth. They cannot legally stop anyone from making watches inspired by the Royal Oak. Copycats could explode, micro brands could multiply, fashion brands could mass produce lookalikes. IP protection had failed. AP needed a new strategy. Not legal, not technical, but cultural. After losing case after case, Audemars Piguet had to rethink everything. If the law wouldn't protect the Royal Oak design, public perception had to. And that's when the idea appeared. Make Royal Oak shape so culturally iconic that no one will ever associate it with anyone other than AP. And the best partner for that? Couldn't be anyone other than young generation brand than Swatch. The same Swatch that saved Swiss watchmaking in the 1980s. The same Swatch that revived Omega through the Moonswatch. The same Swatch that could put tens of millions of AP inspired designs into hands of young people worldwide. And in May 2026, they unveiled Royal Pop, a pocket watch, not a wristwatch, to avoid cheapening the Royal Oak. And how did Swatch decide to do it? Bioceramic construction, pop art colors, AP inspired geometry. Bold, fun, unapologetic. Priced around $400 and only available in stores. Swatch handled the culture, AP handled the heritage. So, how does AP benefit out of this? Millions of young people learn Royal Oak design land. Future AP customers are created, design becomes culturally distinct, AP strengthens symbolic ownership. Copycats look like imitators, not equals. And how does Swatch benefits? Another global cultural moment, like the Moonswatch, reinforces Swatch as the cultural leader, expands its design universe, bridges luxury and accessibility. And do you know why this is a genius idea for both the brands? AP lost legal ownership, so they created cultural ownership. Swatch gave AP what no courtroom could. Public association in turn would get AP global distinctiveness. And in trademark law, if public association becomes strong enough, future trademark battles can restart with better chance. AP is playing the long game. Swatch is the perfect ally. This entire story teaches us one powerful lesson. Protect your ideas early. It doesn't matter if you're a global brand or a new creator. If you don't file the right patents at the right time in the right countries, your biggest innovation can slip away. Audemars Piguet learned this 50 years after launching the Royal Oak. One misdesign filing in 1971 led to a global crisis in 2025. But the real reason is this: innovation is important, craftsmanship is important, design is important, but protection is survival. Thank you.